Hello everyone, we are here, we are live, we are ready to go, and we are going to be launching right away. And for those people that are just joining us stream for the first time, what the I Like Ike title, what this is about is me building towards finally landing some Kerbals onto Ike. Ike is going to be my target. Who knows, maybe while we're there we'll also hit Duna. That's still to be determined, but in the meantime what I need to do is unlock more science because I am playing with Kerbalism, which changes the way the science works. Kind of slows me down a little bit, but also adds in all kinds of life support requirements. Now, for those people that are new, this is the rocket that I was working on at the conclusion of last stream. I don't even know how many streams ago it was. 3 or 4 streams ago, I got started with setting up a higher speed relay network about the moon, because that's where I'm really trying to collect my science from. That whole mission seems to be kind of jinxed. I ran out of fuel with the vehicle that is delivering the relays to their required orbit. That turned out to be a misunderstanding with Kerbal Engineer that resulted in that. I sent out a large fuel barge which was doing some double duty, fueling both that and taking oxidizer to my station to support some moon landings. And well, that thing ran into a communication snafu last episode, and so now I'm launching this thing, and this thing's a much scaled down version of that fuel barge. I called it the mini fuel tanker, and it is taking fuel only to the relays while I'm still in the process of attempting to bringing the bigger fuel tanker, there it is here, the gas tanker, back towards the moon. It's now in a very large orbit around Kerbin. It's got a maneuver in about 7.5 days that will send it back towards the moon, and hopefully we can save that. But it's just now going to the station. It's not going to go to the relays because it doesn't have enough fuel left for the double duty. Hello there, Dan. Glad you could make it. Hello, technical support, and everybody else that I might be missing. And just to sort of lay out what other things are going to be going on in the stream here, well, one thing I want to do, if I open up my Contracts Plus window right here, and let's put it somewhere, let's just tuck this out of the way for now. Let's put it up here and select our OHC Stations. I do have to bring back the crew that is on OHC Station. I want to bring them back. As well, I do have some Kerbal Academy contracts that do require specific Kerbals to be on the moon, and, well, they're not at the station yet. This is still going okay, right? Yeah. Scroll in on this. They're not at the station yet, so I'm going to have to bring them there. And, oh yes, I also have this guy. There is a half-built rover on the surface of the moon. I am paying some attention to this, make sure it's still doing what it's supposed to do. And we're supposed to go there and finish it, so I figured that will be a good mission, but I need to bring over the required parts. Actually, more accurately, I still got to figure out exactly what parts it needs. So I do have some contracts here that are all going to kind of, hopefully some of these will get satisfied, or at least we'll be working towards concluding them. In the meantime, this guy is on its way to orbit. You can see it's got itself the mini claw at the front of it because it's going to need to attach itself to the vehicle that we'll be seeing shortly. And considering that this isn't coming up for another 7.5 days, I think what I'm going to do is just try and complete this whole mission first, not be jumping all around. I'm going to go straight out to the relays, hopefully get all those relays inserted, get this gas tanker to the station, and bring the Kerbals back. That's kind of my plan for today. Hello, Red Pulse, who subscribed to say hi. Alright, so where is this thing at? We can time warp a little bit closer. This thing had issues at the very conclusion of last stream. The nose cone didn't clear. It turned out all I did is with the interstage nodes on, I actually connected the nose cone to one of those interstage nodes instead of to the decoupler that was here, so the nose cone never left, but it would have been in the way of the grabber. The easy way to fix that is to simply turn the interstage nodes off and then put on the nose cone. Then it's attaching to what you want it to. Alright, just going to finish off this circularization. Well, you're welcome, filthy casual gamer. I'm glad my tutorial videos are helping you out. Okay. So we are almost done here. And this is really a very, very simple mission. It does not need to bring much fuel to its target. Little flippy-doo there. And there we go. We are inserted. Let's stick that onto the normal vector. We'll keep that handy because I might need that. That's looking like everything is going well. Okay, let's turn things... Actually, probably... No, let's turn everything off for now, just to simplify stuff. So the moon is our target. Oh, and we are going to the moon. How much time do I spend making maneuvers going to the moon? Let's flip it over to the little tool thing. A little tool thing here. A little widgety tool. Okay, so focus our view here because our target's not simply just to get to the moon, but to get to... There we are. There's a whole lot of relays there, but specifically, actually, this is our target right here. So what I want to do is I need to rendezvous with this object in this elliptical orbit. That's the orbit it ended up in after it ran out of fuel. And so in order to do that, I need to set up a maneuver that is just touching the orbit. So I'm turning the scale down way too much. There we go. Let's see if I can... Whoops, that's going the wrong way. This way. Try and do this with the minimum amount of fuel. Oh, that might be pretty close to it there. Come out. And what I want is just to touch the orbit. It'd be ideal if my periapsis would touch this ellipse at the ellipse's periapsis. That would be the most efficient situation. Unfortunately, this being if I hopped ahead orbits, I could do that. But you know what? I got so much fuel, it doesn't really matter. So I think I'm just going to kind of go for it. So let's see here. If I can just tweak this a little bit. That's probably pretty good there. Good enough. We'll do a correction when we come into the moon's SOI. Yeah, if I started hopping ahead orbits and did this insertion later, that would change the incoming trajectory of this, and you would eventually get it to the point where this periapsis would be very close to this periapsis, which would be your most efficient situation, but fuel is not at a premium, so I don't care. Is really what it comes down to. Sometimes you just sit there and say, I want to go faster rather than going in a more efficient way. Okay, let's get to that burn. What is the TWR here? 1.58, that's cool. Want to make sure it doesn't get too big. And I'll run that maneuver execution script and let KOS take over. Well, you're welcome, Bradley. I'm glad the tutorials are working. I think a lot of people, I've heard this quite a lot in my comments, my YouTube comments, people, I think, are coming back to KSP with KSP 2 now just around the corner. Speaking of which, I heard that I didn't hear, there was a, just previous, the timing wasn't right for me for this stream, but just previous to this, PC Gamer did a live stream preview of KSP2, so I'll have to make sure to catch that, and you should make sure to catch that if you haven't caught that already. All right, so where are we at? 9 seconds to the burn. The mighty, what do we got? The spark engine there on the bottom. People making fun of me because I finally figured out how action plates work. Or not, what am I talking about? Engine plates. Action plates. And if you weren't around last stream, what caused my communication failure that messed up this gas tanker mission was a solar storm. So I now have to be aware that solar storms do disrupt communications with unmanned probes. You're very welcome, Dan. Okay. Pretty sure it was PC Gamer doing the stream. And then I really want to start preparing for that Ike mission. I mean, I'm on part 5. My goal is for part 9 of this series to be the mission to be done. Like, I've gone to Ike and I have returned. Okay, where are we at here? Here, let's add a little bit. Should have a lot of ignitions on this. Nah, we'll fix it with a correction. Yeah. We'll fix it with a correction. Okay, that's on its way. You do want to save ignitions. Okay. And this correction will be trivial. So, a little bit of a correction, bringing that inwards. A little bit like that. I'm not on the thing there. And also a bit, I think it's a bit south. You can tell I'm actually not in the right plane here. Let's get rid of this. Because the descending node is not at the encounter indicator. So if I go back to the maneuver and adjust normally and figure out the way, there we go. That brings that DN towards the encounter. Now I know for a fact that the orbits are actually really touching right there. And this is a 1.1 meter per second burn. I'm just gonna do that. Let's really crank down the thrust here. 2 seconds. 1 second. There we go. That's good. Okay, we will F5 as I have gotten in the habit of doing before doing any time warping. You know what? I'm going to do this one manually, I think. So we'll put this on. Whoa! I'm still on this window. Let's spin this around. Get it onto that. How about we put it on here? We'll just do this eyeball-like. Okay, so don't have to wait for the counter to get to 0. This isn't too time sensitive. Let's do a teeny tiny little burn. Hardly any thrust, and I turned that thrust limiter way down too. And cut. Happy with that. That is great. I don't think I have to do any adjustments when I get to the moon. So speaking of which, here we go. Rock and roll. You're probably used to me jumping all over the place with this stream. But instead, I'm just going to get this mission done. I really want to get those relays in the right spot. Okay, so we'll time warp ourselves to the moon's SOI here. Not enough space on the hard drive. I have no idea what that's in reference to. Oh, I know what that's in reference to. I do know what that's in reference to. That is my scientists on the station working the lab module. And they were taking a surface sample from the surface of the moon and analyzing it so that that science can be transmitted. But that's part of the reason why I have these relays happening or want faster relays is because they generate the science faster than they can transmit it home. And I'm hoping that these relays will improve that transmission speed. I'm not entirely convinced that they will, but we're going to find out. Okay, here we go. Let's get this capture. So it's a little bit awkward because of being on the side of an ellipse like this. I think that is going to be it. There we go. So that is, our encounter speed's very small, so that's going to help. Okay, so let's just select right there and see if we can not tweak down that encounter distance. I got 6.4 kilometers, 1 kilometer. Oh, I saw 1. That might be as low as she goes. That's fine. Way out in space like this, we can definitely make that work. Okay, so that burn's coming up in 1 day, 2 hours, and 25 minutes. So again, a little F5 action here. Let's up the thrust. An 8-second burn. Let's half the thrust. Make that. There we go. 16-second burn. That looks better. Okay, so bump. Yep. Quick save again. Let's get down there. See how quick these things go when you're just like not jumping between missions. All right, so this should be setting up our rendezvous. So we're going to be, just so people are seeing what's going on, I'm doing this, but we're doing a burn here that's going to put us into this dotted orbit whose period is just a little bit different. So, but when we get back to here after doing one orbit, we will be matching up with our targets, and then it's going to be refueling time. Hopefully all that will go well. All right, 10 seconds to the burn. Should have many ignitions on this. Still 27 ignitions, so that should be good. 1 and go. And I'm just going to watch our separation distance here, and we'll tweak it with RCS. We do have, should have a fair amount of oh, did I put monopropellant? Where did I hide my monopropellant? I know it's in here. Please tell me it's in here. Okay, one thing at a time. Okay, I still got a 4.6 kilometer separation. I have monopropellant stowed somewhere. I don't know where. Let's try a few little puffs here and see. Whoop, that made it worse. Wow. A little overcooked it just a bit. I saw one kilometer separation there. That's good. Where do I have the monopropellant stored? Probably fiddling with, that's an inline reaction wheel. That's a battery. That's liquid fuel. That's liquid fuel. That's liquid fuel. Oh, it's right here. There they are. Oh, my little monopropellant can. Okay. I figured it had to be monopropellant somewhere. Okay. So now, what do we got? We still got a day until we get to meet our tankers. That's okay. We got nothing else going on. Where is the moon? So we're going to go around in a nice elliptical orbit for 1 day. Just go around one more orbit and then we'll see our target. Okay, just watching that time warpy thing. Yeah, I'm getting a question in the chat about the Kerbalism crude surface experiments. I'm not convinced at all that they really work right. I've managed to squeeze some science out of them, but there's something wrong with they don't quite work. Here comes our target, by the way. I don't think they really work the way they're intended to work. I think Kerbalism kind of messes those things up. People might have, yeah, it was, what was it, last stream that it was last stream that I was fighting with that, and that's why I wasn't too concerned. when I last stream, if whether I got them set up right or whether I got them set up wrong. Really didn't bother me one way or the other. I just realized I never got rid of this node. Okay, we are 15 minutes from our target. I always love the way orbital mechanics works here. With these... Whoa, 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 whoa. We're very close now. Okay, put this on target. Retrograde. Our incoming speed is very, very low. Probably got a little bit too close there. Okay, that's the target, so I got to push it, yeah, this way. A little bit. Whoa, I'm still locked to retrograde. There we go. Turn this thrust way down again. Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, that's bring... Okay, do it this way. No. I got myself a little bit too close. There we go. Now it's doing it right. I'm just looking at this distance here. Okay, we're coming within 19 meters of it now. Going straight at it. There we go. We can definitely go a little faster. I should have lots of monopropellant. I do. Just going to use monopropellant from here. There we go. So I got a lot. Yeah. I love these little... That was one of the better... I don't know what update put the little tiny RCS thruster blocks on there, but they are great. They use up so little propellant. Okay. Target here. We can lose this. Don't need that no more. And these guys, this thing has been floating around for quite some time here. Okay, now we gotta slow down. Slow down. We shall arm the claw. In fact, let's aim our camera right here. And we gotta somehow... Oh, I still have all that on. Okay. Let's slow this down. Okay, usually I take this and I tweak off yaw, pitch, and roll. That saves you quite a bit of monopropellant if you do that. Yaw, pitch, roll. Do I have to go around all 8 of these? Yes. Yaw, pitch, roll. Still got to keep an eye on my ship. I'm coming in on it. Yaw, pitch, roll. Usually I do this in the VAB. I must have forgot. And in that way, when you're making attitude changes, which the reaction wheels have no trouble making... Oh, let's slow down a bit more. Okay, just pretty close to a stop here. Come on. Yaw, pitch, and roll. Yaw, pitch, roll. Okay, I think this is the last one. Alright, so what I need I need to come... Let's roll this so that north is upwards, because that means that now direction should match... Am I in orbit view? Let's put it in orbit view. There we go. And now down should really be down. Nope, that's not right. North is upwards. Oh my gosh. North this way then? Yes, okay. It's nice to adjust your camera so that what's up on the screen is up on the Navball too. So I need to come down a little bit forward. Okay. And I want to hook on right about here. That's not where the target is. The target's, I can see it's there. It's on some probe body, but... Let's try and sort of aim this in here. That's feeling pretty good, I think, that way. Yep. And hopefully we'll grab on here. Grab. Grabber's like the best. There we are. We are attached. So, this fuel here was really what was meant. That's all this tank needs to have enough. That's all it needs. Hardly anything. But I might as well, I'm sure I have lots more fuel, so I might as well take over a lot of this. Okay. And then we'll deorbit this thing. It has no more purpose. Okay, that is that. So that is empty, but we might as well... Let's see, that's full. There. I got stuff in that. Why don't we take this all out? It's not going out. That's always weird. Why? I know sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You were able to pump into here, but you can't pump into this one, even though you're more... There. Somehow just fiddling around up there and getting the windows. There, now it's working. Okay, so we'll take... you know what? Here. Out. Same thing. In. See how that doesn't work? But if I just fiddle with the mouse up there and then do it, now it works. So why? I don't know. Yeah, I could be using the fuel transfer mod, that's true. But this is a pretty simple craft, so I'm not too worried about it. Now I want to put a little bit of fuel into this. Again, same thing. And then I come here. Maybe fill this Oscar, because I want to deorbit. That should be enough, I hope, to deorbit this thing. I want to get rid of this. So all of that was really taking a lot of fuel. I don't even know how much I ended up putting in. But it should be enough. There we go. Okay, we should be good. Boom, boom. Also, monopropellant. Here, let's do the... Just to show people the mod. Where's the Mr. Fuel Transfer mod? There it is. TAC Fuel Balancer. That's what I'm looking at. If I look at RCS... Right? You can highlight which tank. So these are RCS tanks up here. I might as well take all the RCS fuel that's out of this and pump it into these because I have no more use for it. And then these little satellites have a lot too. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. So you are being uncoupled. Where's the release? Release. Whoa, that was with some vehemence. And what I think I shall do... Oh, it still has 623 meters per second of delta V left. I mean, oh my golly, that's still a lot. Okay, and I just want to deorbit this to the moon. I bet you anything I can do it. Let's just turn everybody off for now. Bet you I can do it right now. Where are we? We're way over here. Okay. Like, dude, this is just a test. Will I be able to hit the moon? Oh yeah, we got it. So, boom, retrograde, burn, bye-bye, bye-bye. Just so I don't have to look at you no more. Goodbye. Hello, Wolfie, how are you doing? I could use the RCS to deorbit. That's true, James. Especially if I waited for this thing to get to apoapsis. That would have been the better place to do the deorbit. But it's deorbiting. But also, these little satellites up top here run on monopropellant. So it's not like the monopropellant is not going to go to use. It's going into these upper satellites. Okay, so now, it is time to start fixing this. So this is 370. I want to reduce this a little bit. So how many ignitions do I still have on this engine now? 11. So I gotta be a little aware of that. But I think I can. Yeah, let's turn down the thrust on that. It's got a TW. Oh, but that's, of course, we're around the moon. No wonder the TWR is so high. Okay. So, I'm going to get out here to Apoapsis. Oh, if you want to see it, by the way. There's my probe going to its demise. Good to see that, but the other guy is getting up here. I want to lower this periapsis to 377.35. So I'm just getting up here to Apoapsis. Is that guy going to crash? He's crashed. Goodbye. Goodbye. What did I say? 37, so that's retrograde. There's Kerbin. Where's the moon? There's the moon. So, and again, this all has to do with just getting the right period for my relay satellites. Now that this thing has fuel again, I think it got a bit of a nudge when I detached from it. I think it sort of perturbed its orbit just a little bit. So I'm just looking at my timed Apoapsis here. Getting a little closer. Okay, so this I want to be 377.35 for the periapsis. Oh, wow. That, okay. That was way more thrust than I thought it would have. It's close, though. 377.32. I can't complain about that. Okay. Then I need to get my apoapsis, so that's going to take a maneuver down here at periapsis. My apoapsis, I need to be... I worked this all out. And I can't read my own writing. Is that 621 or... I think it is. 621.5. I hope. 621.5. That was the orbit I was shooting for before this thing ran out of propellant. 621.5. Wow. Very sensitive. Specifically, though, I'm actually shooting for an orbital period. Should be an orbital period of... That's my orbital period now. This should be an orbital period... Oh, 621. I'm on 521. The orbital period's more important. I should be smarter. And I forgot that the game gives you what the predicted period would be. The orbital period should be 4 hours. I'm glad I looked at that because that's the part I was actually messing up a little bit. And then this should be a pretty close to 621.5. There we go. That makes more sense. Orbital period of 4 hours. Exactly. That's what I'm shooting for. And this will make a lot more sense once I'm dropping... seeing in the chat, that's 5. No, numbers sometimes aren't my friend. I swear. I'm actually a math major by education, and numbers, I don't know, arithmetic, like numbers. When numbers are really abstract, I love them. When numbers are really concrete, that's when I start running into issues. It's going to bring down this thrust. I'm just looking at the burn time. 15-second burn. That looks good. Okay. That down the mover. So it's only a 28 meter per second burn. And coming around the back side here. Oh, I should bring up KOS again. And run my maneuver executor. So that'll take care of that. And again, I'm really shooting for an orbital period of 4 hours. So I'll tweak this after that's done to be exactly 4 hours. Yes, you can Wolfie's asking, can you use older versions of mods with KSP? 1.12, he mentions 1.12.3, but I'm actually on 1.12.4, the most recent version. And the answer to that question is yes. All the mods that you see on the list that's down there in the description do work with 1.12.4. You're watching it. So yes, older mods often still work. Despite the fact that the games, they're technically not compatible. Just install them anyway and see what happens, would be my advice. Okay, here we go. Very tiny little burn. I will say that the vast majority of mods I have installed in this game are not making it easier. They are actually making it harder. Okay, I'm looking at the period. Oh, I am 1 second too short on the period. It overcooked it by just a smidge. So I'm going to take this engine here. I got to flip it around to prograde. I'll put this at 0.5. And this should be the last burn for this engine. So all I want is... Oh, I gotta be careful with that. Every time I do that, I'm using a burn. Don't be dumb. Using an ignition. I was doing like the little taps. My stock tricks. There we go. 4 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Okay, that is good. That is good. This is going up to normal. So, I am now, that's just in an orbit with a period of exactly 4 hours. My target orbit, would actually, you can see, it's the same as these guys, is 3 hours. So what's going to be happening is we're going to go one more orbit around, then I'm going to drop my first satellite. And then I think, well, it might not be obvious because there's a lot of noise here. But because my target orbit is a period of 3 hours, and our transfer vehicle here is in an orbit with a period of 4 hours, every time I go around, we're going to drop behind the previous satellite by an hour. And so by the end of all this, the satellites should all be 1 hour apart from each other in this orbit. And since the orbit's period is 3 hours, that will mean they'll all be equally spaced. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm just not saying it very well. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just coming down here to periapsis. There we are. And I'm going to stop like 5 minutes before. So drop and relays. And I'm not even convinced, honestly. I'm starting to become okay, so we're going to drop our first relay. We're almost at our periapsis here. I'm hoping that I turned down the decoupling force on this. Please tell me that I did. I think I did because I didn't even hear a noise there. Can I? No, it's still attached. Oh, decouple. I'm pushing jettison. Decouple. There we go. So it made a noise. Didn't push up too violently, so that's exactly what I'm shooting for. Go for our little satellite here. So this little satellite is working off of a little tank with a little bit of monopropellant in it. And this is one of those place anywhere linear RCS thrust reports. So it works completely on RCS. And what I want to do, so that's why the delta V numbers are all messed up. It thinks it's got 0 delta V, but it doesn't. It's fine. It's great. So this is going to be, let's rename this. This is moon part. How do you do command? Is it rename? Rename vessel. Moon 5G moon relay A. And the next one will be B, and then the next one will be C. Okay. So what I want, I'm just trying to decide whether it's worth my time to set up a maneuver. I don't think it is. So we're just going to get ourselves down to periapsis, and we're just going to reduce our orbital period down to 3 hours exactly. And I'll take another shot at explaining what I'm doing once I've done that. And then I think it'll make sense. Okay, here we go. Putting that on retrograde. What's nice about using monoprop with Kerbalism is monoprop engines have an infinite number of ignitions. They never fail. At least to my knowledge. Okay, so we are retrograde. I put on RCS. I have this toggled to the throttle. So as I throttle up, this should go down. So let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, this is going to work great. This is going to work great. I'm just going to get really close to periapsis. These are the biggest relays I got. I'm being claimed. These aren't the 100G relays. Nope, they're the biggest ones I got, though. Science be slow with Kerbalism. At least with me. My experience, science be slow. Okay, here we go. And again, it's the period that's really what you're looking at. Oh, I overdid it by a second, so we're going to turn down the throttle limiter. There we go. Flip this around. Oops, flip it around this way. Actually, I should be looking at Kerbal Engineer. It gives me the period. It gives me the period to the 1,000th of a second, which I'll never get. But oh my gosh, I went too far the other way. Really tiny on the thrust limiter. There, it's as small as it goes. Okay, go around the other way. Let's try this. Ah, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. I'm looking at the Kerbal Engineer number at the top. That gets me the period much more accurately. Nice! 33,000th of a second too much, but I don't care. I flat out... Oh, there we go. There's our first relay. It's in the orbit that it needs to be. And just to sort of show, we can do this. If I set it as a target... Oh, no. Let's go back to our other ship. Sorry. Can I go back to my other ship? Yeah. Go back to this guy. Can I get a... Yeah, set it as a target. Let's turn on. Now, for those people that weren't understanding what I was doing, I'm hoping this will finally make some sense. So I've turned off everything except for the satellite I just dropped and our transfer vehicle. This orbit has a period of 3 hours. The blue orbit has a period of 4 hours. So what ends up happening is, as we time warp, right, this satellite's getting around faster than this satellite precisely by 1 hour. So by the time this guy, which is us, is back to here. Let's slow down when we get close to periapsis. Back down to periapsis, right? We are now 1 hour behind this satellite, which means that we are exactly, because this period is 3 hours, we're exactly a third of an orbit behind this satellite. That's the whole idea. Okay, so let's get closer to periapsis. Again, we'll start doing all this stuff a few minutes before periapsis. Actually, Kerbal Engineer is giving me the phase angle here. The phase angle is the angle between the satellites. It is very close. It's 239 and change, very close to 240. It's measuring it this way. Actually, it's measuring it backwards this way, 240 degrees, but that means this angle here is 120, which is which is a third of a circle, which is what I was shooting for. So I'm happy. It's good. Okay, let's get rid of some satellites. Let's get rid of the next one. So, decouple, not jettison. There it is. Now, this is a little bit goofy. Let's see if we can just... Yeah, that works. Just do that. Yep. You're free, little satellite. You are free. Okay, so again, we are shooting for a period. There's nothing to do. I keep thinking I gotta expand stuff. I don't. I'm shooting for a period of 4 hours with this guy. So we need to get closer to periapsis. We're still about 4 minutes away, so let's get ourselves closer. And unfortunately, still the detaching kind of messes up things a little bit, but it'll be close enough. It'll be close enough. All right. So again, period is currently just under 4 hours. I want that period to be 3 hours. So we're just gonna, again, just a little tiny engine here. Just using monopropellant. This is a tiny itsy bitsy little burn that I'm doing. Very small. Like I think I budgeted it out something like 30 meters per second, this little burn. And given how little tiny this satellite is, it's really very, very small little burn. Hardly any fuel is being used, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay. I've got to get closer. Right on top of periapsis. I'm looking at the numbers on the top, which I know depending on your screen may not be readily visible. But I'm 10 seconds shy of getting this down to 3 hours. So again, I'm going to turn this thrust limiter down to almost nothing. Let's try that. So 3 hours and 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. 15 thousandths of a second difference. By the way, a trick. If you really want this to be exactly 3 hours, my advice, go into your persistent save file and you can make the period exactly what you want it to be and make all of them exactly the same, and then they'll never drift on you. You'll never have to do any kind of satellite maintenance again. All right, this is the last one. This satellite doesn't detach. It's going to stay attached to this. It's just what it is. So what we're going to do, I said this was going to do one more burn, and I lied. It's got to, or was out of burns, but it actually has to do one more. So now 5. Let's clear the targets. Go back, target. There we go. So we're going to do one more orbit here. You can now see all. Let's put. I got so many relays around here. Like there's just relays everywhere. I've gone berserk, and some of them have drifted out of position, and some of them have not. But I'm not someone who really cares. There's definitely good enough. Okay, there we go. There we go. Retrograde. Oh, you can set them in the debug menu. Very good. In Reborn in the chat. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. If you just press Alt and F12, for some reason it's not coming up for me. Okay, my debug menu is not coming up. I don't know why. I'm hitting Alt F12 and nothing is happening, but you should be able to do it from there. But for some reason I'm not getting it. Okay, I still got 7 ignitions. I hope this won't die on me. That would be bad. I don't know how much thrust I need to give it. Let's try it with that. If it's close enough, it's close enough. I'm certainly in the I'm just shooting. I don't care about getting it exact anymore. Okay, and looking at the numbers up at the top, about 40 seconds away from periapsis. I want to bring this period down to 3 hours. Okay, so I am burning. My thrust limiter is so low you can't really tell. Need more. Less. I'm not going to kill the engine because I don't want to use up more ignitions than I already have. Last thing I need is for this engine to fail. So at about 3 hours and 25 minutes. 22. 15, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Oh, I got 5 seconds to go. Let's go with one more ignition here. So put that at 0.5. Yeah, okay. 2 seconds. Fine. 23 thousandths of a second difference. Let's shut down this engine. You did good. You did good, little engine. Okay, so that's it. So this still has 915 meters per second left in that vehicle. There is my very, very messy satellite relay network. Which one's the one we're on? Which is us? Oh, I forgot the name, the B and the C. This one's C, and then I forgot the name B, but I'm not going back to it. Heck with that. The heck with that, I say. This one's C. And I'll probably never rename B. Where is C? There's us there. So it's this satellite, and that satellite we just dropped. Okay. With that done, let's see. We are still 2 days away from our gas tanker burn that we need to do. Let's get to our station. That's what we're going to do next. So we got a station here. Let's switch to the station. And it's time to rotate this crew home. So we got 5 Kerbals up here. They are working on, let's aim our... Where are we here? Aim the camera. Too many things. There we are. They're working on the science lab, processing science, but unfortunately, I think... Yeah, there's still surface samples here. I must have processed some of them. Oh, and the lab turned off? Why did you turn off? I think the lab turned off when the hard drive got full and it didn't turn itself back on. Because now I can see the hard drive is empty. I think this is what frustrated me before. What if I got into this automation stuff? And when the hard drive is full, in other words, it's below 10%, I want you to, oh my God, there's so many things. Laboratory. I want the laboratory off. I keep forgetting you can automate these things. And then when the hard drive is empty, in other words, it's above 85% free space, I want the laboratory to turn on. I bet you that would have fixed the problem. I didn't do that. So what we're going to do is get everybody home. Now we have vessels. Who's going to go with who? Let's see. We have, who's our pilots? We have Jeb. We have Lieutenant Kim. So Jeb and Lieutenant Kim are our pilots. So we're going to put, I don't know which vessel is which anymore. These two vessels are sisters of each other. So I've made my life way too complicated. That is for sure. Okay, so we want to get all these vessels home. I don't want to leave vessels up here without crew to fly them. So we're going to transfer Jeb into here. And we're going to transfer Lieutenant Kim into here. And then we're going to transfer Bill. Bill's been with Jeb way too long. So Bill's going to go with Lieutenant Kim. Okay, and then we got Hector, Mac the G. Oh, and then we got our 2 scientists. Let's put both scientists with Jeb. Jeb, you're getting a scientist. Just shaking up the crews. Shaking up the crews. And we're going to head these folks back home. In their 2 ships, and we'll send up a crew rotation. Okay, double check the comms and check the, I'm seeing that comment. Check the transmission speed. I don't think, does it say it here? Science rate is 380 kilobytes per second. Is there a transmission? I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel... You know what? I'm getting to the point where it's like, you know what? Let's just bring the samples home. Speaking of which, the samples right now, where are they? Samples are still in the what do you call that thing? A lander. So I think we can just transfer our data. There should be a button. I shouldn't have to EVA anybody. Transfer data here. And now those samples should be in that capsule. Good, because gotta make sure the samples come home with us. So forget the lab, we're just gonna go home. Okay, the last thing I want to do is Bill being our only engineer. I'm gonna do a last minute check and make sure all of our engines. Whoa, grab. Is Bill got monopropellant? I forgot. Oh my god. That glitch is gonna kill me. I swears that glitch is gonna kill me. Bill has no monopropellant. Like, it won't fit in there? You're terrible. Can I reach any other inventory containers? I'm really kind of... Okay, Bill, they're bored again, Bill. Gonna have to transfer Bill. There's a glitch with Kerbalism that steals the monoprop from their... EVA packs. And what you need to do... Yeah, I just transferred Bill over to here, EVA'd him from here. He still has no monopropellant, but then what he needs to do is you take his pack. There it is. Somewhere as well, he's got a parachute. I should find that. And you take his pack, you put it in here, then you bring it back, and this is now full. And why it works that way, I have no idea. But it's annoying. Okay, Bill. We gotta leave. We're leaving this place. Okay, so we're just gonna check all our engines. Because Bill, being an engineer, is capable of servicing these engines and extending their lives. So we got 4 engines down here. Okay, that engine's fine. So these engines actually seem to be okay. Okay. I remember upgrading them, and they probably have a ton of ignitions on them. Okay, so those engines are fine. Then we'll go this way and check what's our more important engines, because these are the engines we're going to be using right now. Okay. That one's fine. I think I might have serviced it already, but I want to make sure. And this engine over here, the last one. It's practically new. Okay, good. So all the engines are good. I think Bill was over here, if I'm not mistaken. On this one. Grab. And board. Okay, for some reason he's not boarding. Board. There he goes. Okay. Now I want to take a look at our inventory containers, which are completely not showing up. Where's Bill's parachute? Bill's lost his parachute. Parachute inventory. No parachute there. Fortunately, I have inventory containers like everywhere. Nothing in there. I mean, I could just send Bill without the parachute. Chances are he won't need it. But then, you know what? There it is! Success! There's Bill's parachute. Okay. And Bill, I think, is in here, right? Bill's inventory. There he goes. Get Bill his parachute back. Good stuff. Okay, and just make sure everybody else has their parachute. So Bill's in here. Lieutenant Kim has a parachute. There's probably nobody in this back one. Nope, it's not. Cool, cool. Alarm clock out of the way. And we'll check on Jebediah. That's the inventory for the thing. Where's Jeb's? Jeb. There he is. Inventory. He's got his parachutes. And our two scientists. Hector. Hector's missing a parachute, so it's somewhere. Oh, I bet you I know where it is. Bet you it's down in here. I'm so terrible with keeping track of their stuff. There it is. Hector's parachute. And Mac the G. Everybody's got a parachute. Okay. Happy, happy, happy. Happy. Now, next step in all this is, oh my gosh, we are very close to the right time to get away. I'm in a polar orbit, so leaving from the moon isn't always going to be, but the time to leave from the moon is when the orbit's in the same plane of this orbit is in the same line, so to speak, as the moon's direction around Kerbin. It's very close. So we're going to blow. We're going to blow right now. Let's open up TAC Fuel Balancer. And make sure they are all resourced up. This takes always so much time. I want food now. I got to figure out which vessel is which. So this is highlight. Okay, so this is vessel 9. And this is vessel 11. Okay, that works. So vessel 9 and vessel 11, we're filling up your food all the way down. So many individual containers. I remember when I built these things, I didn't have the large containers, so all I did was fill it full of the small containers. Okay. So and then we just got to go through all of these and do vessel 9 and vessel 11. Oh my gosh, so many buttons. Okay, liquid fuel, vessel 9, in, 11, in. Thank God for TAC Fuel Balancer. There might be parachutes back at the, whoops. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, this one I don't, oh my gosh. I pushed fill, and that's, I was just going down the list, and I got to vessel 13. That's this thing. I don't want to, oh my gosh. No wonder I was suddenly having trouble with filling their tanks when I was actually filling this big Rockomax thing here too. That was dumb. There may be parachutes down at the space stations in low Kerbin orbit. I don't know, but it's best not to be, it's best not to to be sure. And they certainly don't need parachutes up here for obvious reasons. Okay. So just waiting for this one tank to fill here. Good, good, good. Okay. That was liquid fuel. Nitrogen, vessel 9 and vessel 11, in. Nitrogen is used to pressurize the capsules. I'm going to do a little time warping here. There we go. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, scrolling along the list. Oxidizer. There's no oxidizer in those vehicles because of the nuclear engines. Oxygen. Okay. Well, I want to, why not leave the food up there? I want to make sure that they have enough food for their journey, so I'm just very much in the habit of just filling it up. I mean, I don't want to suddenly set them off and then find out they only got, you know, an hour of food left. So the safest thing to do is just fill it up. I believe these vessels have a month worth of resources, but then when I bring them, the next crew back, they'll come back up with a month's worth of resources, so it'll all work out. Okay, monopropellant. Imagine if I was doing this by right-clicking on tanks. I think I would go insane. There we go. That's full. I don't know what rocket is. Shielding doesn't get used up. Wastewater. They don't even hold the waste. Waste atmosphere. Oh, no. Well, there's nothing there. Wastewater. What's waste? Oh, that's... Oh, I know the difference between wastewater and... We will get rid of the... Oh, actually, you know what? We should fill up on the waste and bring it back. And bring it down to the surface with us, really. Well, there's hardly any left anyway. There we go. I was just thinking, like, waste atmosphere, that's carbon dioxide. There's nothing there. Waste. Oh, that's because there's processes, I think. And they can't carry solid waste. That's an oversight on my part. And finally, water. In. We're done. 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 Oh my gosh. Okay. Undock. Aims the camera. Undock. Undock numero 1. Undock numero 2. We're going to fly 2 ships. This is going to be fun. Okay. So, who do we get to get first? You. So, Lieutenant Kim and Bill, you are first. Backing away from the station. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't I change my action groups? So that 7 is now... No. Okay. So, down here somewhere are a set of reaction wheels. I always promise myself that I'm going to... there we go. Toggle reaction wheels. Done. Okay, so now 7 should toggle reaction wheels. 7. SAS on, RCS off. So, is this working? Yep, it is. Good stuff. Okay, so that's fine. Let's get the Jeb, Hector, and Mac back away. You didn't redock, did you? No, you didn't. That's nice. Okay. Again, edit those action groups so that from here on in, every time I press 7, toggle reaction wheels, done. Okay, RCS off. So, these guys should all be good. I should be... There's all their resources. Yeah, they're fine. Okay. All right, Jeb. Let's show everybody how this is done. So, we need to go back to Kerbin. So basically, that's like about here. Burn's coming up in 3 minutes. I think I'm going to do one on this orbit, and I'll do the other one on the preceding orbit. I know that's... I think the longer I wait, the worse it's going to be, but I really think... I don't want to do them both within seconds of each other. So, let's see here. Go like that. Just prograde. I'm not going to get fancy, just going to go like this. We're going to set this to about an altitude of 45 degrees. Or 45 kilometers, I'm sorry. And we'll do some aerobraking to get back into low orbit. Alright. So that's coming up in just a couple of minutes. Let's fire up this engine. And let's set it on the maneuver node. It is going, right? It doesn't appear to be. Do I have to hit 7? There it goes. There's a little RCS to just sort of clear the station here. You know what, let's get rid of alarm clock for now. There we go. Just make sure we're not going to hit the station. That would be bad. Open up KOS. We are in the SN1. That is this one. And we are going to run our maneuver execution script. Okay, that guy's ready. Okay. Hello there, Soda Spiel. What is up? We have 5 Kerbals in 2 ships that we need to bring back to Kerbin. That is what's up. So I just spent, I think, like 10 minutes just transferring resources into these ships. But now Jebediah, along with our 2 scientists, Hector and Mac the G, are going to be doing our first burn, and then we're going to go do one more orbit, and then the sister ship here is going to basically do the same thing. Docking and undocking tends to nuke action groups. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of... Oh well, whatever. I'm just tired of going in here and... it might not work. We'll see. Has anybody made a good Artemis 1? I don't tend, as people can see, to really build replicas of things. I just like to do things. Though, here's something. Speaking of Artemis 1, I always get these requests from people to build Apollo-style missions. Which I get. You want to emulate the Apollo mission, you know, to go out there with a separate lander and a command module, and they go out to the moon, dock together, and then you detach the lander, you know, go down, But that's by no means the only way to do a moon mission. And in fact, this mission, although the orbits are not the same as what you would get with Artemis and the Lunar Gateway, is more what Artemis is going to be all about. There's going to be the Lunar Gateway Station. Artemis is designed to go from Earth to the Lunar Gateway Station, docked with the Lunar Gateway Station. The plan is to have a lander, which still, unfortunately, has to be built, but, you know, one thing at a time. And, you know, Artemis docks with the Lunar Gateway Station, and then the lander undocks and goes down to the surface. And in my mind, that if you plan on continually landing, that's the way to do it. So although this is by no means an Artemis recreation, the way I'm performing my moon landings with this is far closer to what the plan is for Artemis than what you would typically see with people doing these more kind of Apollo style missions. So maybe once Artemis kind of gets rolling and people really start to see what Artemis is all about, we will start to see more people saying, hey, I should build more space stations. And I'm like, yeah, you should. I love space stations. Anyway, there we go. That was my Artemis rant. How are we doing here? So our burn's complete. How did that work out? Oh, that's lovely dovely. I love that. That's perfect. Okay, good. So we're gonna line up our solar panels with my silly little script that does that. That, if I built the thing right, works right. This script, by the way, takes a look at the orbit that you're in and lines it up in such a way so that, here's thinking about it, that no matter how you're oriented, the solar panel will always get good exposure. Did a good job. See, it's right along the galaxy there. Okay, good. That's good, that's good, that's good. We can put our SAS back on, and we can set an alarm for the sphere of influence change, which is coming up in an hour and a half. And now it is time to get to our sister craft here. Switch to you. I'm being asked in the chat, I'm interested what your opinion on people who's making all stuff manually. You mean that they fly everything manually? If it wasn't for KOS, because I do enjoy programming to an extent. I'm not by any means a coder. But if it wasn't for KOS, I'd be doing everything manually. So I really have absolutely no trouble with people who do things manually. I think it's a very, very... I would prefer... I prefer to do things manually. Okay. I'm just realizing, too, I never really paid too much attention to the timing of my ejection with Jeb there. I just sort of went, oh, well, that's good enough. I really should really get this timed better. I didn't even do that. I'm noticing this coming in crazy polar orbit. What? There we go. I didn't even look at the inclination for Jeb's orbit. I hope Jeb's gonna be okay. These guys, I'm going to play a little bit with the timing. Maybe do this a little more sensibly. You want this orbit to be pretty close to equatorial. Actually, now that I think about it, one of these, there's two stations here, and one of them's in a 6-degree inclination. This is the one I'm really shooting for with this vessel. I should try and not really worry about being equatorial, but more worry about seeing if I can match. That's looking pretty good. Oh my god, that's a very small inclination difference with that. Let's dial this out a bit. Oh, I have my thingies way too low. Okay. So I'm kind of looking at two different things now at the same time. I should have done this for Jeb, but I didn't because I was stupid. But, one is I want a periapsis around 45 degrees, but the other thing I want is a reasonably small inclination difference. See if I can get both. It's like I got a seesaw happening with the AN and the DN. Let's turn the scale up a little bit. That might have been a little bit too aggressive. Yeah. So I'm playing with the retrograde, whoops, the other way. The prograde, retrograde, and the timing. This is good. This is really good. Okay, so I got a periapsis of about 45 degrees. And my inclination difference with the target station, despite the target station being in a 6-degree inclined orbit itself, is only 0.7 degrees. So I'm happy with that. I'll have to check on Jeb because I didn't even look with Jeb whether I was doing this in any kind of sensible way. Let's open up KOS. We are in the SN2. Okay. Run that align script again. If I can spell align, that would really help. There we go. Okay, so let's get back to here. So our maneuver's here. So what we're going to do is do this one a little bit more proper-like once the vessel has finished aligning itself. That engine. Term is built. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a chat going around that doesn't relevant to me, I don't think. Oh, I go. If it helps, I get YouTube comments on a semi-regular basis complaining about my pronunciation of things. Sorry, people have, though English is my first and only language, but even with that, people have, oh, this can be deleted, dummy. Retrograde. I gotta do an a avoidance maneuver here, like a proper spaceman. But people have different accents, so they say things differently, and I always get like, you shouldn't say that, you should say it like this. And sometimes I say things wrong because I'm not exactly the most literary of people out there, but come on, man, give it a break. Okay, I'm going to just do a little bit of an avoidance maneuver here. So that's just a little bit of RCS. That is more than enough. And now, where's Mr. Sun? Oh, that's going to be fine. Let's get to that maneuver. Yeah, I think we can just do it this way. Let's go. This will just make sure that we're going to miss the station. Is really all that was. We should have the station behind us once we go around and do another half an orbit. NC Davis, thank you very much. You don't have to pay for questions, but I'm not going to complain. But what's the plan for next week? That's a really good question. Let me get this program started and we'll think about, oh, let's type properly. Okay. So the station should now be really back there somewhere. I've lost track of where the station is. There's the station. Okay, well that's not behind us, but we're not going to crash into it either. The plan for next week. Well, what I got to do, let's see, what time we at? We still got a bit of this. I want to get these folks home. Hopefully we'll get that. Oh yeah, the station will be behind us. It's working. Sorry, the plan for next week. These folks have to come home. I'm not quite sure that's going to happen. No, that's definitely not going to happen before this is done. So that's one thing. We got to send out a new crew out this way. We do have a number of contracts. Let me get our contract window plus here. Put this back. OHC Station. We have some Kerbal Academy contracts requiring specific Kerbals to go down into the surface in specific places. We have another contract to complete a rover that's sitting on the surface of the moon. So I want to do that. And at the same time, collect all kinds of science. That's really the plan. And I want that science again. I actually am doing okay for science, but there is a greenhouse that I really want to unlock before I head off towards Duna. So I just need a little bit more science. And I was thinking, this came out of a conversation on the Discord, where we were talking about Kerbal Construction Time, and I used to play with Kerbal Construction Time, and for those people that don't know, Kerbal Construction Time adds, well, time to all of your builds, as well as, depending on where you set it, to unlocking science and upgrading buildings. Everything takes time to happen. And I took that off because I thought doing a live stream while people are sort of watching me build, and then I jumped to this, I thought it was going to get just too confusing for a live stream. So I took it off. So my builds happen instantaneously. But one of the things that I'm finding is happening with Kerbalism is I'm unlocking science, and I got a lot of science, you know, I'm unlocking the science parts that actually have a lot of science. Things like the gravioli detector and the seismic sensor, but those pieces of science equipment take many days to collect all of that science. The gravioli detector, I believe, takes 90 days. Here, close that. Takes 90 days to collect all of its science. But because I don't have something like Kerbal construction time, which is slowing down the time, I mean, it takes multiple streams before 90 days goes by, so I'm really not seeing the rewards of those science experiments. I'm going to give a little bit of RCS here and bring this periapsis down. And I'm wondering if not doing Kerbal construction time was a mistake. That was the long and short of that. If I would have been better... I mean, I could just simply time warp the 90 days to get that science. But that just feels... I hate that. I want to be doing something. I don't like to just time warp just to get science. So... There we go. Oh, we got a nice... There's a lunar eclipse happening... Or a solar eclipse happening on Kerbin there somewhere. If you live right there, you're getting a solar eclipse. Okay. This is done. This is done. This is done. Let's set an alarm. See, the alarm is behind here. For these folks' sphere of influence change. Let's start playing with these windows a bit. Clean things up. Just gonna go down here. Okay, so these guys are doing fine. Let's jump over to Jebediah, which I sent them going towards Kerbin, and I did not pay any oh my god, get words out. I didn't pay any attention to their inclination. So I'm hoping they're okay. You see, it's a little inclined. I wasn't paying any attention to that. They are going for the WKMS S. And they are coming in pretty heavily inclined. I think my best plan is to fix that inclination right now. Well, not right now, but as soon as... I think as soon as we leave the moon's SOI. So let's get out of the moon's SOI. So say goodbye to the moon. Where's the moon? Where's the moon? There you are. Okay. So let's get out of here. And let's get right, and we'll watch the Navball flip here, and there we go. So we are now out of the SOI. We're coming in here, but our inclination with our station is at about 10 degrees. What I think I should do while I'm out here, and I'm not in the ideal spot for this, because ideally I would want to be over here, but that's like a whole orbit around. So what I want to do is do as much as I can right now to fix this inclination. So that works. We can do a little bit. This burn's still 10 minutes away. Let's... There we go. Okay, that's... When you see that the AN and the DN are on pretty much the opposite sides of your orbit, that means you're pretty much as you're going to be able to do for now. What is our periapsis? We want our periapsis lower. A little bit of retrograde 2. A little bit of fixing that. More retrograde. Oh, wait, not. Yeah, no, prograde, dummy dum-dums. Got the scale way too high. Okay, that's 45. We got about down to a 3-degree inclination difference. So that's better. You'll just do this one manually. So I should have been paying... I could have fixed this with just timing my ejection properly, which I didn't do because I was in a rush. So that was my own impatience got me. Okay, let's just fix this. So, doing this right now. And for those people that do not know, I should really actually probably point this out. What's my periapsis at? 45. That's perfect. Okay. People wondering why I've made my life so complicated. These guys are just coming back to Kerbin. And, sorry, I'm typing and talking. Why is it so complicated? Well, the problem is that this vessel is incapable of descent down to Kerbin's surface. It can't do it. So it's got to dock with a station that is in low orbit about Kerbin where there is an SSTO, and they have to transfer to that and take that down to the surface. So they can't just simply, like you would normally do coming back from the moon, just like set your periapsis at like 35 kilometers or something like that, and, you know, descend, drop the parachutes, deploy the parachutes, and everything is great. I made my life all more complicated, but I think more fun, just more complicated. Okay, so we're going to be hitting the atmosphere. I should have that here somewhere. Time to atmosphere, 1 day and 0 hours. So I'm going to add that as an alarm. We'll periapsis and give me like 15 minutes warning before. That'll be before we hit the atmosphere. Good. Okay, so that is an alarm to go to these guys before they hit the atmosphere. Let's jump to our other ship, which should be in better position. Oh, are you out of here, Dan? We'll see ya. Okay. Alright, so these folks are also on their way leaving the moon. So say goodbye to moon. Okay. And again, time warping until the Navball flips. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I thought it was some sort of, you know, internet slang I was not privy to. I don't know what people are talking about half the time. What is my periapsis? It's good, it's good. Our inclination's 0.8 degrees, which is great too. I think all of this is looking pretty good. So I think for these folks, I think they're just fine. I don't see a reason to adjust much anything. So what we're going to do is just, again, set an alarm for periapsis, 15 minutes warning. That'll be in 5 hours and 11 minutes. Are these guys going to get these? No, they're not going to get there first. That would have been funny. They're hitting the that works. Yep. Okay. And so back to the SN1. Jump the ship. We're going to be jumping back and forth between these folks. I'm hoping that I'm not... There's only like 13 minutes difference between these two hitting the atmosphere. I'm hoping that's going to be okay. Should I do something about that? I'm going to quick save. That's what I'm going to do about that. And if it's not okay, I mean, I could easily take... Let's get it so we can see both those ships. There we are. I could easily take this ship, push the periapsis out of the atmosphere, or even just, yeah, out of the atmosphere so it'll go around once. I don't know if I want to do that. It's, yeah. But what I'll do is I'll quick save, because that's about to do something that's risky. And, because I don't, these guys might be, you know what, I think they'll be, will they? No, they might not be. The game might go, oh, they died, and just delete them. If they go through the atmosphere without... I don't know. So I'll revert. If those folks die simply because they weren't the active vessel, that doesn't count. That doesn't count as a death. That would be silly. I'm a little nervous, though. Because, like, here's us. We have to be through the atmosphere before these folks get there. Alright, life on the edge. That's what we got. Life on the edge. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Alright, so we're just about there. So what we're going to do is put this onto the surface retrograde vector. We're going to undeploy everything. Right? 0, there we go. Retract everything, I guess is the word for it, isn't it? Not undeploy. This alarm is about to go off. That's a little scary. Yeah, I'll do a quick load if this goes really badly. I mean, okay, so these guys are ready to do the plunge, but the problem is these guys are hot on their heels, and if they end up going through the atmosphere while it's not the active vehicle, the game could easily decide, oh, they just died, and remove the vehicle. And if that happens, we'll revert. It's a curious experiment to see what happens. Now, hopefully what will happen is I will... Okay, here we go. We're about to take the plunge here. So, what I'm doing, I'm going to just hold B to keep these air brakes, and I want to keep track of their temperature. If they start getting too hot, we're going to retract them. I'm seeing a notification there, and I'm not sure what that's about. Here we go, and we are just a minute from periapsis. So we're going through the atmosphere pretty quickly. And where's my thermal stuff? I should have thermal stuff somewhere. Don't I have thermal stuff? There it is. Critical thermal percentage tells you the percentage that, you know, what's the closest to blowing up and what percentage of the way is it to blowing up. And the closest to blowing up is the engine at the end, but it's only 44% of the way to blowing up, which isn't very much. So this, of course, is lowering our apoapsis for free. That's the whole point. And the key is to dip down the atmosphere enough to get you to slow down, but not so much that you the apoapsis ends up inside the atmosphere and you end up going down. You want to come back out of the atmosphere. Is there a reason for the air brake? The air brake is purely about saving fuel. 100% about saving fuel. And I like saving fuel. Okay, we're past periapsis. That was really effortless. Nothing too scary happened. I do have the trajectories mod too, which I'll bring up once. That will predict your trajectory after going through the atmosphere. But I knew this first plunge wasn't going to be too bad, so I thought, you know what, let's just do this first plunge first. The first plunge first. And let's see how my peoples are doing. How radiated are they? They're not too irradiated. Oh, Jebediah, 8% of his lethal radiation dose. Okay, so right now, we are coming out the other side of all this. Feeling pretty good about ourselves. And of course, the real question is where... Oh, see, they're nowhere near the atmosphere. I was all worried for nothing. All worried for nothing. Everything's fine. We're 1 day away from our gas tanker burn. That was the whole... I'm just killing time, really, till this gas tanker burn comes up. Get ready to align everything again. We can deploy it all. We're almost out of the atmosphere. Why did that 0? There we go. Run that alignment script once again to get the solar panel some nice exposure. But what we did in doing all that is we brought, well, you can tell there's the orbit coming back from the moon of the other ship, but we brought our orbit down to that for basically 0 cost, which I mean is exactly what you want to do. Now we can, let's get trajectories thinking here. Open up the trajectories mod and get it to show our predicted trajectory after this. Now I do have to be a little careful because it's factoring in the drag from all of these bits. So I'm gonna retract them once again. You also have to give what your descent profile will be, which will be a pure retrograde descent profile. And now trajectories is telling me, see, there's its predicted path after our next. So we're gonna, next time we come around, it's going to be in this orbit, and then if we go around one more time, we're going to then crash into the surface. I think it's predicting after that. But our next path is fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to let these folks ride. Set an alarm so I don't forget they're there. This alarm is coming up in periapsis. Give me 10 minutes warning. That should be fine. Okay, let's jump to the SN1, which is here somewhere. Or the SN2. We were just at the SN1. Go. Poor Jeb. Or is that again not in reference to me? Poor Jeb is stuck in a ship of scientists. There we go. See, they were still 700 kilometers above sea level. They were doing fine. There was nothing to worry about. Oh, I should be looking at the inclination for... Okay, we'll jump back to them. Shoot. You know what else I'm going to do while I'm doing this? I'm noticing that there's extra spaces when I say SN, that it's not, this is my own, but it should be Nerve 1 with spaces here between the dash, because it doesn't match the other one. I know that's me. Pump. Okay, we are about to take the plunge. That's what's happening here. So this is a repeat. Repeat here. Lieutenant Kim and Bill are going to do the exact same thing. Okay, put them on the surface retrograde vector. Retract everything. There we go. Actually, you can keep that out. The air brakes had no trouble with the other... on the other vessel, so I don't see why they had trouble with this vessel. These air brakes, by the way, are custom air brakes. They are texture-wise exactly the same as the stock air brakes, but they're actually titanium air brakes. So they're heavier, they're more expensive, but they have a much higher melting temperature, so they don't blow up when I do stunts like this. So I had made these myself. That's silly. I took the config file for the stock air brakes. I copied that whole folder and I changed some parameters. That's the extent of my modding skill right there. All right, so these folks are now doing the plunge too. But just in case people are wondering, like, why don't these blow up? That's the reason why they blow up, because I modified them. It would be really nice if in KSP2 they have parts that are of function like this, like the grid fins that are on the Falcon 9 rocket. Those would be, having parts like that. I know you can get them in mods, I can find that, but it would be lovely to have something like that for stock. But it's nice having these air brakes because it clearly slows you down more, but also if all of a sudden you're noticing your apoapsis is getting really, really low, I can drop these air brakes, retract them, and that significantly changes the amount of drag on this ship. And I can all of a sudden say, okay, I'm coming down too low, I'm going to drop these so that we'll slide through the atmosphere a little bit easier. But, so we're going to get through this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over to the SN1. I forgot to check their inclination again. Their relative inclination with the station. There's a difference if you use this. Okay, James is saying you can use the stock air brakes, just not facing prograde. Really? I would have thought there would be no difference with which way these face. But maybe I am you, and James says he can attest. Okay, I will believe you. That's something for me to put to the test. I've always assumed which way around you have these things really doesn't matter, and just simply put them on the way I thought looked better. But if spinning them around the other way makes a difference, then maybe I should have just spun them around the other way. I have no idea how this game decides when to do autosaves or what. That's a mystery, for the ages. Okay, we are almost again out of the atmosphere. Yeah, do that. Do that. Now let's check on these folks' inclination, because I didn't with Jeb's ship. Their relative inclination is less than a degree. That's pretty sweet. So what I think I'll do is just how much to make this down to 0. If I put a burn here at my descending node, is it pretty cheap to 0 that out? So this is what I should be doing with Jeb's ship. Oh yeah! There we go. Okay, so 20 meter per second burn will 0 my inclination, my relative inclination with the station, so that's sweet. So what we'll do is we'll set an alarm for that. Oh, alarm clocks. I already got it. Set an alarm for that maneuver. Give me like 3 minutes warning here. Okay, let's jump over to Jeb. See if we can not fix his inclination. I don't know why I'm ignoring your inclination, Jeb. Oh, it's because you're first. So I do my mistakes with the first one, and then I realize, oh, I forgot to check the inclination, and so then I fix that with the second one. Okay, Jeb needs to fix his inclination. His relative inclination with the station is still 3.4 degrees. Unfortunately, well, let's see if we can fix it here. How much will it cost to fix? It's going to be a little more for sure, but I'm sure Jeb can afford it. Okay, so what's that? Yeah, 116 meters per second, but you know what? I should just do it. Just do it. Just do it. There we go. We got the fuel to spare, so we can do it. Okay, so again, I'm going to add... Let's take off this periapsis warning for Jeb. Burn, yeah. Add this alarm for the maneuver. Well, let's just do it. This maneuver is coming up in just an hour and 12 minutes. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, he's on his way out. There we go. Let's do this. And then I also got the fuel tanker now is less than a day from its maneuver to get it towards going towards the moon. Hopefully I can fix that. You know what? Let's just run the... Getting lazy and just use some automation here. So this is just simply... Is this thrust on full? It sure is. So it's still a 25-second burn even with the automation, or even with... full throttle. Not a huge thrust of weight on these guys. So this is just... Oh, I don't know what my predicted... Shoot. Might be a little late for that. I didn't look at what my periapsis is going to be after the burn. That's close enough. It'll be fine. Okay. Oh, I do want another air braking maneuver, Mark. No. I'm all about getting this down as far as I can. Do one more air braking maneuver with both of these guys, I think. We'll check with... oh, it's raising my periapsis, so if anything... Yeah, it's going to be fine. Okay, so this is just zeroing out the inclination here. Yep, inclination is getting down very, very small. That is good. This can be deleted. This can be run the align again. And we'll add an alarm for when are we hitting the atmosphere? We're hitting the atmosphere in just a couple minutes, so let's just make this a 2 minutes before periapsis. Hit the alarm here. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. This is 4 minutes and yeah, okay. There we go. So that's my alarm to remind me to get back here because these guys are about to make the plunge. But you know what? That's going to have to be for next week. So I think I'm going to be drawing this stream to a close. So I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. I want to thank everybody that's watching this at a later time. And of course, as always, an extra thank you to my Patreon patrons and YouTube members who support this channel. We'll have yourselves a great weekend, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Bye, everybody.